Dickens is not a bone. There, for a favourite carol.
Sweet lady.
Sweet boy.
I was not merely over head and ears in love with her, but I was saturated through and through. Enough love might have been wrung out of me, metaphorically speaking, to drown anybody in. And yet there would have remained enough within me and all over me to pervade my entire existence.
Dickens' work as a reporter earned him 5 guineas a week, not nearly enough to be an acceptable suitor for Maria.
I, the moonstruck slave, perambulated round and round the garden for 2 hours, looking through crevices in the palings, getting my chin by dint of violent exertion above the rusty nails on the top, blowing kisses at the lights in the windows, and romantically calling on the night at intervals to shield my love. I don't know exactly what from. I suppose from fire, but perhaps from mice, to which he had a great exception.
Oh, I do so admire the scent of geraniums. Kind sir. Yes. There, my little pet.
Jove knows I love but who. Lips do not move. No man must know.
No, no, no. With command to the audience as soon as you enter. And the pens, they're not fish. They're to be used thus. No, 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 no. From the wrist right through to the tips of the fingers. That's it. Wrist, fingers, wrist, fingers.
Dickens was determined somehow to get on in the world. He even considered becoming an actor.
'Tis but fortune. All is fortune.
You see, with Garrick, the whole man, the whole body was slave to his dramatic
His drive and energy were phenomenal. He worked as a reporter for 2 papers at once, went to the theatre, wrote his first short stories, read in the British Museum, and took acting lessons.
I practiced industriously, even such things as walking in and out, sitting down in a chair, often 4, 5, 6 hours a day, shut up in my own room, or walking about in the fields, or with my acting master. I prescribed to myself, too, a special system for learning parts, and learned a great many.
No, no, stop. It's impossible. You cannot sit like that. Now, look. 1 foot behind the other. Bend the knee and blow.
Oh, Charlie.
I can barely bring myself to say it, but our meetings of late have been little more than so many displays of heartless indifference on the one hand, while on the other they have never failed to prove a fertile source of wretchedness and misery to me. I would feel it mean and contemptible of me to keep by me one gift of yours, or to preserve one single line or word of remembrance of affection from you. I therefore return them, and only wish that I could as easily forget that I ever received them.
Then in December 1833, he picked up the monthly magazine from a bookstall. The magazine helped unknown authors by presenting their work without payment. Dickens had submitted his first short story, A Dinner at Poplar Walk.
It was there, in all the glory of print. My eyes were so dimmed with pride that they could not bear the street and were not fit to be seen there. But they sent me a polite and flattering communication, requesting more.
Perhaps now Maria, whom he had courted for 4 years, would be impressed enough to accept him.
No, Mr. Dickens. No.
I will.
Who giveth this woman to be married to this man?
I do.
Say after me, I, Charles Dickens,
I, Charles Dickens,
take thee, Catherine Hogarth,
take thee, Catherine Hogarth.
Catherine Hogarth was the daughter of a newspaper colleague. Dickens married her on the 2nd of April, 1836, after Maria had refused him. Compared with Maria, Catherine was rather dull. Nevertheless, Dickens loved her sincerely and aimed to bring the same determination to marriage as to everything else.
Instead of the moping solitude of chambers, there will always be the warm companionship of our own fireside, where we will sit, And I will tell her rationally what I've been doing through a day whose pursuits and labors will all have for their mainspring her advancement and happiness.
But by marrying Catherine, he married the entire Hogarth family. Her father, her mother, her brother, her baby sisters, her sister Georgina, and her sister Mary, who was to live in the house with them.
Most certainly, my dear Catherine. I am of the opinion that Turkey carpets are a necessity for people of our...
Even in the first crowded months of marriage, Dickens continued to work. Out of the hack job of writing the text to a series of sporting illustrations, he created a comic novel to be issued in monthly installments. It was to be called The Pickwick Papers.
I think red Turkey carpets.
Dickens worked through all distractions, encouraged by the sympathetic understanding of his admiring young sister-in-law, Mary.
But I really must determine the opinion of Charles. Ow!
Darling, naughty puss, go away.
From the start, it was in Mary, not his wife, Catherine, that he found the warmth and calm that he so deeply needed.
She became the grace and life of our home. So perfect a creature never breathed.
And in order to illustrate your taste to your husband's friends, I insist that everything should be chosen to match.
Mamma, red is...
My friend, Mr. Snodgrass, has a great taste for poetry, replied Mr. Pickwick. So has Mrs. Leo Hunter, sir. She has produced some delightful pieces herself, sir.
But I dislike brown.
You may have met with her ode to an expiring frog, sir. I don't think I have, said Mr. Pickwick.
But Mamma, cream is so much prettier.
Charles, brown. Do you not think brown for the curtains?
Or cream brocade.
Such poetry, such passion.
Pray be serious, Mr. Dickens.
Then neither to offend my new wife nor my new mother, I'll hazard amphibious green. On a log, expiring frog. Beautiful, said Mr. Pickwick. Fine, so simple. The next verse is still more touching, said Mr. Leo Hunter. It runs thus. Say have friends... fiends. Say have fiends in shape of boys, with wild halloo and brutal noise, hunted thee from marshy joys, with a dog, expiring frog.
With the publication of the fifth installment of Pickwick Papers, in which Mr. Pickwick first meets Sam Weller, the book seized the imagination of the public. It was hailed as a triumph.
Judges on the bench and boys in the street, gravity and folly, the young and old, those who are entering life and those who are quitting it, alike find it to be irresistible.
The comic adventures of the members of the Pickwick Club became the greatest success story in publishing history. Dickens received over £3,000 for his work and was able to give up reporting. Mr. Pickwick and his friends became national heroes.
Catherine. A doctor. Quickly!
Mary Hogarth suddenly became ill and died.
No one can conceive the misery in which this dreadful event has plunged us. Since our marriage, she has been the peace and life of our home, the admired of all for her beauty and excellence. I could have better spared a much nearer relation or an older friend, for she has sympathized with all my thoughts and feelings more than anyone I ever knew. She has left a blank which I never can replace.
The shock of Mary's sudden death, like so many other emotional events in Dickens' life, was buried deep in his mind, never to be disclosed. Unknown even to his wife, he was to dream of Mary every night for 5 years. Years later, his stored-up emotions reappeared when he wrote The Death of Little Nell.
For she was dead. There upon her little bed she lay at rest. The solemn stillness was no marvel now, She was dead. No sleep so beautiful and calm, so free from trace of pain, so fair to look upon. She seemed a creature fresh from the hand of God and waiting for breath of life, not one who had lived and suffered death. Mary Scott Hogarth died 7th May 1837. Young, beautiful, and good. God in his mercy numbered her with his angels at the early age of 17.